90% of people who open a business or start a business have no idea what they are doing. In Uncovering Reckless, we will teach you the simple things that you can do to run a successful business. Hey.
Good to be with you, Shirley.
How goes it?
Love that opening statement. 90%
That's wild.
of people who start a business. Where did we pluck that from? Well, in 20 years of helping business owners build businesses, the reality is the question we ask is how many of you actually spent time learning how to build a business?
Yeah.
And the overwhelming majority, 90% of the room will put their hand up and say, no one taught me how to run a business. So people come out of, I don't know, being a sales director, being involved in a business, understanding, and at times being very good at what they do, understanding
The business.
what happens in a business,
Yeah.
think that they're going to come out and run a business. Two very different frigging things to do. Very different.
I mean, incredibly different, right? I mean, you, for example, are somebody who went from running businesses, working in a business, running teams, running sales teams, being a sales director, being that person. So then, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. Yeah. Was that simple for you, right? It's super simple. You just quit your job and started this business, and boom, here we are today.
Become an overnight frigging instant success.
Man, I love it. Okay, that's the end of the podcast.
Here we go. Nothing to teach you.
Nothing. It's easy. Just start.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you guys got it. Obviously, it didn't flipping happen like that. I was fortunate. I got involved in a business. I got involved in a business soon after I started being a sales rep, and then the second job I got offered, I moved across and I worked for a guy, and I ended up getting 10% shares in the company. And I was a shareholder, not a business owner. I wasn't an entrepreneur, and that's the mistake people make. Is I worked for someone, I earned 10% shares, but I didn't have to do all the things that the business owner did. I went out and sold, and that's what I did in the business. And yes, I learned a lot, because I had a lot of responsibility. I was the driver of the business and all that sort of thing. But I didn't need to raise capital. I didn't need to, our salaries were paid for by the guy that was majority shareholder and so on. And then, I spent a bit of time in the corporate world, but really, and I did very well in the corporate world. I had a good job. We were very successful, built. I was sales director for an American company. We got incredible growth over 5 years, and then went on my own and then learned. Yes, I had some skills in business, a very different mindset, very different things that people that you just don't learn. You don't learn at school. You don't learn at university. Things that you learn either by making the mistakes and stuff ups as you go along, or you learn from people that have walked that route, and you're humble enough to actually go, how did you stuff up, and what are the things that I can't, that I shouldn't do?
Yeah, and that piece that you just said now, which was actually, you mentioned it at the last sales disclosure, was like people like to say that, especially when it comes to like mentors, right? People will be like, oh, Robert Kiyosaki is my mentor. It's like, no, you watch his stuff, you read his books, his natural means. You don't have any direct contact with the Steven E. So like, what is the difference? Is like you said, learn from people who have walked the journey. So if I was to, start a business, what would be my journey of finding a mentor, finding somebody to help me?
Yeah, so you wanted to start your own business?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing is who are you going to take advice from? Where are you going to get advice? So what do a lot of people do? They have an idea they're going to start a business. Great. And so they decide to start their business. Where do they get advice from? Well, a lot of times from around the braai, or from around the pub, or from around the golf, and they ask people who a lot of times have never run their own frigging business, what do you think? And I learned this, and I've seen this time and time again. There's never a shortage of people who can tell you what to do because they know what to do
Yeah.
and dispense advice even if they've never friggin' done it. So first point is connect with people. That's why I think connect with people who you connect with. So that's where, if you're on YouTube, who teaches business on YouTube? If read a book, read a book around starting a business, read some books, connect with, find people that you connect with. Once you do that, then learn and follow their stuff. Now, you can go on YouTube and you can learn. People can go on YouTube and learn from me. That's great. It doesn't mean I'm their mentor. What it means is they start learning. And this is my take. My take on a mentor is someone who sits down with you and calls you on your bullshit. Someone who sits down with you and understands who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and they're prepared to guide and help you avoid the pitfalls and the problems that they had, but they're also people that have done what you wanted to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So how do you find people like that? Well, you start hanging out at places where people like that hang out, and your mentor does not have to be some super successful person. It has to be someone that has done the stuff that you haven't done yet. So you want to sit down with a mentor, find someone and you're just starting a business, find someone who's had a business for 5 years. They don't have to be making millions, they don't have to be driving 7 Porsches, but they've already done the shit that you haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And then when they sit down with them and say, can you give me some advice, what are the 10 things I should avoid when I start this business? They're going to tell you, well, let me tell you the mistakes I made. The mistake I made is I didn't register my company. The mistake I made is I didn't do this. The mistake I made is someone told me to, register a PTY limited instead of a CC. The reason I shouldn't have done that is this. Now, where do you use it? Now, they'll take you through that they'll have you get through the first year.
Yeah.
Maybe after 1 year, you're more successful than them in their business after 5 years. Okay, great. Now you find another mentor. Somebody else that's how I look at that.
Okay.
And be humble enough to take the advice they give you and go and apply that advice.
Yeah, I think that what you said there, because essentially what we're going to be talking about, or what we started to talk about today is like, for me, in my mind, it's like processes, right? It's process to starting up a business in a sense, in my mind. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, I'm just saying that's what the questions are going to flow the way they are. I feel sometimes people make that mistake of going, well, I want somebody who is running a 100 million rand business to be my mentor because they're successful, so I want to be successful like that. But what you said is having somebody who's going to call you on your bullshit. Yeah. Why is that part important? Because if you want somebody who's incredibly successful, let's just say based off monetary things, they're not going to have time for your nonsense. So why is it important to have somebody who's going to mentor them and call you on your bullshit?
Well, so are you looking for a mentor or are you looking for someone to agree with you? So I think a lot of times people are out looking for agreement. So I'm going to go ask Suli for advice, but I don't really want advice. I want Suli to tell me my idea is good. It was like, I'm listening to Mr. Beast on YouTube at the moment on building YouTube platforms. And and in his book he says this. He says it's like going to someone and they have a newborn baby and you tell them their baby's ugly. Okay. Well, people don't want that. No. What do they want? Look at my baby. Oh, your baby's so beautiful. Well, friggin' heck, if your baby's ugly, it's ugly. So what happens is people want that with their ideas, how they want to run their business. So they look for agreement rather than actually looking for someone to give you honest feedback. Yeah. That's why. I never have a problem if people give us feedback on our podcasts and it's negative. How often do I complain? No. I'm happy. Thank you because it's honest feedback. Yeah. Barry, your hairstyle sucks. Thank you. What would you do differently? Because it's honest feedback. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I think for me, finding a mentor, someone who's going to give you honest feedback on where you're sitting, on what you're doing, or what you're not doing, is very different to finding someone who's going to agree with you that your idea is wonderful and it's going to be amazing, and speak to you because, or on the other side, try and give you advice because they think they're smarter than you. the other side to this as well is, why would a multimillionaire want to sit down with you and spend any time with you when you haven't even launched your business yet, or when you haven't even taken the steps to get going? And that's what people want.
Yeah.
Advice comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. Go sit down with someone, you know, who's you haven't even registered a business yet or started a business. Go sit down with someone who's already been through that journey. Ask them for some advice. What worked, what didn't work.
Yeah.
You've had a business for a year. Go sit down with someone who's been running their business for 5 years. And there are many people, we see them coming in and out of our programs all the time, business owners. And I've asked this question. If someone came and sat down with you and said, can you give me some advice on the things that I should look out for and not do in my business? Most of those business owners say, I wouldn't have a problem. Buy me a cup of coffee, sit down and have a chat. But what do people want is they want to sit down with a Richard Branson or a Robert Kiyosaki or highly, highly successful people. Why would those people give you have you even earned the right to sit down with them? Have you earned the right to sit down with them? Some of the advice they give you, you're not going to be able to handle anyway. Because you haven't, your mindset's not at that stage, the size of your game's not at that stage. Yeah. So position yourself in the right place, learn from the people who can really help you at that stage.
Yeah, and I think that's another great example that you've loved to use and you use quite a bit actually until today is like the mamas on the side of the road selling tomatoes. That's somebody you could take advice from in terms of building a business, right? Because they are there, rain or shine. That's heat and pressure in terms of running that type of business.
Yeah. So look, if I was starting that type of business,
yeah,
then I could get advice from them. If I wanted to start a business where I was going to put some tables outside and start selling vegetables, well, who would I go to? I would go to those people. Why? Because they've done it. They've done it. If that's the start of my business, if I can't afford, because guess what? You go to someone else, they'll tell you, no, don't do that. Go rent and get a shop and thanks, dude. That's great. I have no money. Well, how good is that advice going to help you? Well, go borrow some money and leverage. You can't do that. So guess what? If you want to start a tomato selling friggin' shop, yes, the ultimate game is you want, silly, sunny tomatoes, and you want to be in, 13 cities around the country, and great. But you have no money at the moment, so where are you going to start?
The people who...
Well, go sit on the side of the road, put your stuff up, learn how to sell, start selling, and take advice from them. What are the stuff you wouldn't do? What are the stuff you struggle with? And then you get started. Once you get started, then you can sit down with someone else and say, hey, I noticed, then you find someone that went from, the tables on the side of the street to having a little sponsor shop, from a sponsor shop to it. And you take that advice to grow to the next level. And I think that can be done in any business. You start from where you are and you drive. Mm-hmm. So how often do we take advice? Yes, that advice is great, but you haven't got to that level, so how can you apply it? Yeah. I don't know, go borrow 2 million rand and kids out of a shop and well, I don't have 2,000 rand, let alone 2 million rand. How's the person going to do it?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
100%. So I mean, okay, so now we've done that. Let's just say we found a mentor, we're on the track, we're ready. For you, the most important step in any business next is what?
Well, so I think, let's go back to your original question. Most people who start a business
have
no idea.
Yeah.
Why? Because they've never run a business. And yes, they've been involved in businesses, they've worked for companies. It's a very different mindset. When there's a very big difference between relying on somebody else to pay your salary to paying your own salary. Okay, it's a very big difference. And what that creates, it creates a whole lot of different types of emotional turmoil, affects your mindset in a totally different way. Yes, you can be very driven, but if things aren't going the way they should be at the end of the night, then you know you're still going to get your salary. It's a lot less stressful than when you're running your business and you know at the end of the month you still got to pay school fees and you still got to put food on your table and you've got these debts and friggin' heck, don't tell me it's the same stuff. If you think like that, you're bullshitting yourself. the level of, yes, there's different levels of pressure. I understand in the corporate world it's high pressure. It's a very different level of pressure. It's a different way to look at a business.
Yeah.
You know, when you sit and you present to a company, you present to the I don't know, your directors or the shareholders that you need capital because this is the next, you need to hire another 5 salespeople. Well, you present, it's their money, and you get it or you don't get it, it's still their money.
Yeah.
In your business, you need to hire another 5 salespeople, and you don't know how to raise enough money or sell enough to move it to the next level. Well, it's your business. Different level of thinking. So go back to that. So that's the one thing is a mindset. I think the problem is people start off and they don't start off by going, okay, what is it that I don't understand about running my own business? Not what is it that I know. So people get stuck in, I know that. What is it that I don't know about running a business? Okay, so that for me would be the first step. What is it that I don't know? Second thing is get freaking started. A lot of people are spending lots of time planning, getting it all right, so when I launch it, it's perfect. It's never going to be friggin' perfect. Never, ever, ever, ever. So you have an idea, start it, get going, take a step, start moving. So for me, those are the hard pieces, and then you learn. So the other thing that I suppose why I love that statement right in the beginning, why 90% of people who start a business have no idea how to run their own business, how to get going, is because how much did school teach you about business?
Zero.
Nothing. No. Okay, guys, I don't care whether you took business at school. Okay, it teaches you nothing about running your own business. How much did university teach you about running your own business? You get it. Yes, you do business courses, you do MBAs, you get a lot of theory around business. And does that equip you? Yes, it does. It gives you knowledge, it gives you information. I understand that. But the real equipping in business is emotional intelligence. It is the ability to stand in the heat and pressure. How do you stand in the heat and pressure? You take action and you start friggin' doing the things you need to do. And they either work or they don't work, and you start working from the stuff that doesn't work. And that's the hard stuff. That's the hard stuff. You know, that's why people say to me, oh no, I'm doing this business on the side. I go, that's a side business.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a side business, go into network marketing or direct selling or something like that. Those are businesses that are designed to run alongside what you do to generate your primary source of income until you build it big enough over a period of time. Okay, but when you get into a business, I have never started a business as a side business. In fact, I say that incorrectly. Every time I have started a business and I did it as something that, well, it'll generate some income over there. I'm not fully involved, but I am involved. It's been an absolute stuffer. Absolute stuffer.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. Okay, it doesn't mean why, because I didn't position myself as an investor. There's a difference between going, okay, I'm an investor. Now what I do is, if I sit down with you, say, Cindy, I have a business idea. I can't run it because I have my own businesses, but I'm going to put the cash in, but you're going to run it. Now the difference is my involvement is sit down with you and hold you accountable to get out and drive the business. Yeah, that's a different thing. But having an involvement over here to do some things in the business I'm involved in there and another one over here, okay, your focus is so divided. And right early on in working with Blair Senior, I learned this from Blair. Never first. Most people try. Too many people that the reason they make a mistake in business is they think, if I can do more, I'll make more. No. If you do more, you divide more and you have less focus. So the first thing, you ask me what's the next step in business, be very clear on what am I doing and drive that, drive that, drive that, drive that, and drive that until you know exactly how that works and you create results. Then you go a little bit wider and wider. Now, people don't want to do that because there's a mentality, more is more. It's not. Less is more. Less is more. It always is. Less is more. People think more is more. You know. So once you start getting into that, then you start learning what are the key things that I need to start implementing. And you mentioned the word process. You know, critical mistake is people don't start off by getting clarity on their processes. What's your process? I mean, I posted to my team, I posted to you guys, what's our business process? And what did you say? Oh, my marketing. I said, and Michaela said sales process. And I said, no, what's our business process? At the sales coach,
What is the
at Uncovering Greatness, what is our process to drive income? As a business, yes, marketing is part of it, sales is part of it, operations is part of it, but from the start to the end, what do we do? What are the key steps that we do in order to generate income out the bottom side? And you guys couldn't answer that.
no?
So first step is to get clarity on your business process. How am I going to make money? Now, the core function of that is how you're going to sell. The other part of that is marketing. But
How
does it all fit together?
Yeah.
How are you going to manage that money when you're making money? What are the key processes? So step one to really start understanding it is understand process and understand your business process.
And I think something around the process is that I'm also starting to learn now. Like the reason why, sometimes you have, like, the course says charge, so I don't know what different word for it is.
Emotion.
Yes, emotion comes up with it.
Yeah. Makes you feel uncomfortable.
Like, I actually realized, because I haven't ever learned this anywhere. Like, the only process that I think I probably learned is like baking. Like with baking, you have to follow steps so things can go awry. Other than that, I've never learned or understood the power and the importance of following a process.
Yeah, so I would challenge you. I would challenge that you have learned it, but you've never understood it or never applied it. So you went to school. That's a process. So you got up every morning. You had to be there by 8. You had they take you through a process.
Yeah.
You get up. You do it. What they don't do generally is teach you what's the outcome. Yes, they tell you what's the outcome. Study hard, pass, get a good education, make lots of money. What bullshit, but anyway. But at school you went through a process.
Yeah.
You finished at 1 or 1:30. You went and you had your lunch, and then you went to sport, and then you got picked up at 4, and you went home and you repeated the process. And so we all put through a process, and our life is about processes. But I like what you say is that did you really understand the importance of following a process?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Because it was not, and I mean, even like working in family businesses, my mom was a very successful entrepreneur and all of that, didn't have processes. She knew what she was doing or what she needed to do. But if you ask me what was the process of our companies, I could not tell you for a second.
So she was a natural entrepreneur.
Natural, yeah.
She had the ability to make money, connect with people, and that's one of the weaknesses of entrepreneurs. Is that they can see it, they can see how to do it, they know how to do it. I know that. That's been one of my weaknesses. I know how to do it. I can go out and make it happen. But then we have people and we expect that because I know how to do it, they're going to do it. No, you have to be very clear in the process. So when you bring people in, they follow the process. And again, and this will be for another podcast, but it's the difference between an entrepreneur and people running a business or business owners. They're different things. People that run a business and are business owners follow processes.
Okay.
People that are entrepreneurs, they are out of the front line, they're visionaries, they create stuff that needs processes. Why do a lot of entrepreneurs struggle? Because they don't get the gap of having the process clear, because they know how to do it, so they just go do it. So they don't have the process that's clear in order to allow them to scale. So in order to be able to scale and teach other people what to do, and that's one of the hard parts of business is people go out, I'm a business owner, they take the risk because they have an entrepreneurial flair, they start doing stuff, they start making some money, and then they run out of time and they say, oh, I'm going to hire some people. They bring some people in and they say, right, you guys go do that. And off they come and they go, what are you guys doing? And people don't know what they're doing, and they go, well, but just go do that. It creates absolute confusion. So when you're going to bring people in, you want to create clarity of process so that people follow you're not saying to them, stop and think. You're saying, think within the process, because this creates the outcome. So it's not like robots, but it's like, okay, Suli, you join me as a salesperson. Okay, Suli, this is my process. Why is it my process? Because this is how I've done it, and this is how I've made money. Okay, good. So if you want to work for me, you're going to follow the process.
Yeah.
Now there's no confusion. What happens? Suli, you want to be a rep? Can you sell?
Yes.
Of course you're going to say yes because you want the job.
100%.
And the better the offer, the more you tell me I'm going to sell. Then I get you to come in, and then after 3 weeks I'm frustrated. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, the market's this, but the reality is because I don't actually have a process to say, okay, so you can sell good. Can you follow this process every day? Go out, meet 10 people, write it on your list, I want to know at the end of the week, how many people did you meet? And so now you have a process. So it's not I didn't feel like doing that. So you go back to making a cake. Can you bake a cake without a recipe?
Yeah, it'll be hard.
No one in their right mind is really going to bake a cake without a recipe. It could be,
Well, if you look into
it could be fun and interesting to see what frigging comes out.
Yeah, no,
Well, but the reality is that if you want to bake a chocolate cake, what are you going to do? You're going to go, I don't know, go wherever recipes are stored,
Yeah.
YouTube, Google, wherever. You're going to find one and go, oh, let me follow this one. And you're going to follow it
Yes.
to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And it says put in 2 tablespoons, you put in 2 tablespoons. It says put in 1 cup, put in 1 cup. Okay, good. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a result. You're going to get an outcome. What was your intended outcome? A beautiful chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Great. Well, if you like me, do it for the first time, and I go, that sucked. It's a chocolate cake, but
It's a bit wonky.
it's not really what it's not really what I saw. So does that make sense? So now what do? You go back and you look at the process. Generally, the process doesn't change. What changes? How you applied yourself to the process. Ah, cuck. I thought that was a cup. Oh, that doesn't mean teacup.
Yeah.
Was a little thing that comes on measuring cup. I measuring cup. Oh,
Yeah,
cup.
yeah.
So I learned.
Yeah.
Now some of you, this might seem dot, but that's how you run a business. And you go back and you get those lessons, and you do it again. You make another cake. It's either better or it's worse. And eventually, as you follow that process, generally the process doesn't change. You may tweak and add, but generally the process doesn't change.
Yeah.
What changes is how efficient you are delivering on the process, how you follow the process, and it runs from there. So that's the importance of starting off and getting clarity in the process. Now I hire you, I bring you in, Suli, and I go, follow my process. Now I can't help you if you don't follow my process. No, I can help you if you follow my process.
Yeah.
So what do people do? They don't want to follow the process. Why? Because the thing they look at is the outcome. I want a cake. I want a cake. So they're going to try to shortcut it to get a cake. So great. There's many ways to get a cake. Go to the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you get the cake, but you haven't learned how to make the cake.
Yeah.
So the outcome is not I want a cake. The outcome is I want to learn to bake my own cake. In fact, I want to be able to make my own cake whenever, however, I want to be able to make that cake. That's a very big difference between I want a cake.
Yeah,
Because if I shop that you buy the cake is closed, but you can't do it. And that's the same as money. I want to make money. Well, at the end result, I want to be able to make money whenever and however. So what do you need to learn? You better learn how to sell. And you better learn how to follow a process. Because once you learn that process, now you can get better and better and better at that process, which means your outcome will get better. Now you employ people, you get them to follow the same process. They get better and better. Collectively, you make more money. And that's how it works. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I made when I started any of my businesses and this training business, Uncovering Greatness. I did not get absolute clarity on my processes and really follow those processes. I did it. I did my process. And I followed my process, but I never sat down early on in my business and documented it and said, okay, these are the 8 steps on how I make money. These are the 7 steps on how I market my product. I just did it. And it was like, well, it works. But what actually works? So when people came around me to say, well, how does it work? I was like, well, just
do this.
put people in a room. I had I had a sales process and I taught them a sales process, but the reality is, if I had done it a lot early on, would have saved a lot of heartache in my business.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right. Like, and also while you're speaking, I was just thinking about, following processes are hard. It's like, I feel like it's like anything that you do, right? You're never going to be great at something from the beginning. And I think it's something that...
It's not the journey of life, man.
Yeah.
It's like saying, I was born yesterday and look at me, I'm
So-
superstar.
No, because it's what you teach in Soul Explosion is follow the process, you will learn. If you follow the process, you will learn, because then you can actually track what's happening. If you don't follow it, there's nothing to track. So you basically you're in the same position that you were when you weren't doing it.
Correct.
Right? And that's like a piece that's also in the Diary of the CEO, which we're reading now by Sean Bartlett. Is where he speaks about him getting on stage to speak for the first time. Yeah, he was Peter himself and all that. He sucked at it. But you keep on doing it, you get better at it, you can measure it. And that's actually, and we were speaking about it in our meeting today, and it was a big realization for me. We have a call list of people that we've called, but for what? And for where? And where did they come from? And there's so much, and it's such a key process in the sales process, because we know what's working and what's not working.
You got it.
You just have numbers, names and numbers, then it can be anything from anywhere.
So, Chelsea, don't focus on the result. The result will come if you follow the process. But you have to get clarity in the process. Then you go back to what you talked about. I was hard because we don't follow advice on the process. If I was starting my business again, if I started now, I'd be sitting down with someone that had built a business that I want to build and say, what are your processes? How did you do what you did and what should I do? And I just follow that. I sat down with P.S You. I said, how do you teach? And he gave me the process and knew how to teach. And I followed his process. I didn't argue about them. I just followed them until I mastered the process. It's the same. You sit down with someone who knows how to make money, follow their process. You want to learn investing? Well, find someone who knows about investing and follow their process. In stocks and shares, for example, sit down with someone, find someone that knows how to make money and follow their process. Yeah. And do what they tell you to do. Do what they say. Put 1 cup and 3 cups in. Put that in and do it again and again and again and again, and you will get the results. As long as they've been honest that this is my process, these are the results I got. So I go back to it. I talk about aerobic. Well, next year I'm going to enter again. I'm going to compete in the World Indoor Rowing Champs. Well, I sat down with my coach last week, got breakfast with him, and I said, this is what I'm doing up until May. I am trying to build capacity. He said, good idea. And I said, is it advisable that I row 10 to 15 Ks a day, 5 days a week, and on the weekend do a 21 K? He said, correct. I said, I want to be able to do 42 Ks by the end of May. He goes, good. So build that up. And then I said, once I've got to that thing, are you interested in coaching me again? He said, yes. I said, great. Once I get to that level, he's going to come back and coach me. Guess what he's going to tell me to do every week? Whatever the freaking heck he feels like telling me to do every week, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow what he tells me. I told him what my outcome is. I told him that he said, what's your goal for time? I told him my goal. And he's going to come up with a process. Yeah. And it's a plan. It's a training plan. It's exactly the same as sales. I want to make $1 million. What should I do? Go do A, B, C, D, E, and F. Go do it. Do it again. Does that mean in week 1 I'm going to hit my talent? No. It means I'm going to have 8 months. 8 months following a process every single day. It's an 8-month process, getting better, doing this workout, that workout, with the aim that in 8 months' time, I hit my time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's why it's not rocket science. It's very simple. We just confuse it. So yeah.
So if you guys want to learn simple techniques, and I'm stealing some things from a surprise. The new book's not a surprise.
What?
The new book's not a surprise.
Diary of the CEO.
No, you know what you.
Oh, my new book. No.
That is a surprise. No. Sometimes you don't just speak about things. I realize that.
Which book is the question? Because I've got 3 of them on the go.
You see 3 new books on the way. But if you guys want to learn simple techniques that can really help your business and really help, actually, it's not just about business, and I think that that's something very important to mention. Even just you personally, like as a person, as a human being on this planet, I think like the simple things that you teach are incredibly valuable. And if you apply them, that's the most important thing. It went back to was reading Sales and Lifestyle as we get. But if you apply those things, it can really change your life, irrespective of what your results or outcomes that you're looking for. The landmarks or the goals that you hit on the way to that journey, priceless. It's insane. So if you guys want to learn more from Barry, from Nicole, from the Uncovering Greatness team, please join us at Circle of Influence every Thursday, Corporate Conference Center, 8:30 for 9 a.m. And you'll find a community of people who are more than likely in the same boat as you. An entrepreneur or business owner who's tired of playing the game alone, and you want to play a bigger, better game. And this is the circle to be a part of. It's the most powerful breakfast in the city of Johannesburg currently happening. I can say that with, I don't know what the word is, but I can say that.
Conviction.
There we go. It's not use big words here.
I have a question for you, while you're talking. I thought, quick question. When people are listening to this podcast, how can they comment?
So you can comment on YouTube. You can comment in the comment section. There's a comment section specifically.
Can you measure timing of comments?
Yes. What time they comment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm going to do a giveaway. Since I'm about to write, I'm in the middle of writing the second edition of Sales is a Life Skill.
Yes.
For the first 10 people who comment, okay, not the word comment, I mean a comment. Give us a comment. Thank you, I learned something. What did you learn? Getting value, not getting value. You guys suck. It doesn't matter what. But a valid comment, not the word comment. A valid comment. If you comment on this, for the first 10 people that come in, you can measure that. Eh?
Yeah.
First 10 people that come in with a comment. If you give us your comment, we will send you a free copy of my first book, Sales is a Life Skill.
I like it.
Can we make that happen?
We can make that happen.
There you go. Good job.
Well, what can I say? Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. You guys also need to please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, on Apple Podcast, and on Spotify. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, you can also become a subscriber, and you can become a subscriber and you can get free, not paid access to a portion of Circle of Influence, which we do every Thursday. Or you can join us at Circle of Influence live and in person. It's way, way, way more valuable. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Thank you, Barry, for your time and your knowledge. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Suli. Thank you, everyone. See you later. Bye.